Hi everybody, welcome to Midweek this week, and we are going to just kind of cover some informational news. I want to introduce to you a friend. Her name is Adrienne. She lives in Portland. She's actually a missionary with World Venture, and she works in the area. It's exciting in a bad way. She works in the area of sex trafficking. And you think, what is a missionary doing in that area? It's unbelievable what she's doing. One of the things she's doing currently, actually even in the state of Oregon, is, I don't know if you knew that there was a petition to legalize prostitution, and that is a huge and tragic game changer because it means buyers, sellers, pimps, all of those folks can't be prosecuted. It's not a criminal act. And so she's been working on that area. But I want to encourage you possibly, if you have some time, tomorrow, it's the 2nd, KATU, Channel 2, I think it's at 9 a.m. They're going to be interviewing Adrienne in the end of that section. You might want to look on their website because I'm sure they'll have that interview. She is a really godly woman who is neck deep in one of the darkest, hardest areas to serve in. And she's really becoming, not just in Oregon, but actually internationally, a fairly significant voice. So I'm thrilled to be connected with her and through World Venture. And I just want to encourage you possibly take a look at that on the TV and the interview tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. if you have an opportunity. One of the things that we've been doing around the church in the last couple of weeks is we're getting ready for Envision. What's Envision? That's our weekend of vision casting. This year we're going to look back at some of the notable things, just to kind of all the new people in our church, give them an idea of where we've come from and what God has done. In my study this week, actually, I discovered 2 churches that we planted I've never even heard of. So it's pretty cool. One of the things that's kind of exciting is we can trace in this region 14 different churches that kind of trace back their roots to our church that we've planted or that are granddaughter churches of our church. So that's pretty fun. We're going to be sharing that. But one of the things that struck me as I looked back on these dear friends of ours who helped plant our church and serve our church, and candidly, having Joshua in my mind, is just some thoughts. As I've looked over it, candidly, I love our story. I absolutely love our church's story. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to me to see the sacrifices that they did. It's inspiring me to see the churches they started, the Union Gospel Mission they started, and a variety of other things. It's also intriguing. What do I mean by intriguing? Well, they built a fence around the church to keep the cows out. That was kind of interesting. We have fences around our church for different reasons. Maybe one of my favorites, as I was looking back, there was a motion on the floor back in the 1800s. I have no idea what was happening, but this is the motion, that they cease worshiping through song. In other words, for a season, our church stopped singing. And here was the reason. Until the young people fulfilled their responsibilities. Now, I have no idea. Maybe the young people quit, milking the cows. They quit whatever they were doing. But they were rascals. And even back then, but I was also kind of intrigued. Why did they stop singing? I mean, why was that the discipline for the young people not getting their acts together? Those are intriguing to me. I find them fun. They're just history lessons of our church. But I also, as I looked at it, it was also just kind of, I would just say, fun information. Fun to find the times that we did strange and unique things. The times when we took a building fund and we sent it to and bought war bonds so that we could, if you will, protect our church and our nation. They're special. We're going to be sharing some of those things as we get ready to come together for Envision Weekend. And that is in June 11th and 12th. And we can't wait to share some of these things with you. I hope you will enjoy them as much as I have as we've been preparing for those things. But as I thought back more on just the generations prior, There's a lot of talk today about leaving a legacy. And I'm kind of pondering whether or not I really buy into that. Because in some ways, leaving a legacy is somewhat kind of given to making a name for myself. And the more I looked at these folks in the past of our church, Joshua and others, I'm just not so certain that legacy building was high on their list. Naming buildings and additions after themselves was not something that they did. They just served because that's what you do. They just sacrificed because that's what you do. It wasn't about making sure everyone in the future remembered your name. It was about making sure that everyone in the future had a church. It was about making sure everyone in the future worshiped God and heard about Christ. I've been struck again, and I love our story and I love reading about it, but it's also kind of not convicting, but instructive to me. Do I live to make a name, or do I live so that those who follow me can know the name of Christ? I said last weekend, I don't think any of the memorials that Joshua built were for him. They were not reminders of Joshua. He knew who God was. They were to be reminders of the next generation. And I'm inspired by our people who have lived long back into the 1800s and in through the 1900s, that oftentimes my sense in their motivation was not to make sure everyone remembered them. It's to not make sure that, they put their name on a pew, or they put their name on a hymnal, or they put their name on something. I'm not against that. I'm inspired by the people who lived in many ways nameless, but simply sacrificed because they believed in us and they loved us. I want to live that way. I want our church to live that way. That we're less interested about building a legacy with our name on it and much more interested in developing a church where people know Christ and they are driven to worship Him and to exalt Him and ultimately to serve Him. So that's in a couple of weeks. This weekend we're going to start a new series, so I want to invite you to come. It's going to be a great time together, and then we're going to take a little break for Envision weekend. We're putting some special things together. I would conclude today's time with, if you want to get a budget, those are going to be available this weekend. If you want to see the ballot in terms of our new committees and folks that are going to be serving, those are available. I cannot thank you enough, all of you who serve. Church can't go without people like you who, again, serve on the deacon board and serve on the stewardship fiscal team and the property and the deaconesses and the global mission team. Those teams, you put them all together. Number one, their responsibility is huge. Number two, their care that they take is remarkable, overseeing our finances, our mission work. So take a look at those names, vote for them, pray for them, but they are out this weekend. So I can't wait to see you this weekend. Enjoy the sunshine, enjoy all that Christ is doing. And by the way, continue to pray for our upcoming skills camp. Yes, we still need some volunteers because I think God's given us about 550 kids and they need some folks to love them. So if you want to call the office and sign up, that's marvelous. We're praying this entire month in our staff time for skills camp. So join us, and I look forward to seeing what God does. I hope you have a great day.